How are we going today, Minasan? My name is Rakan and welcome back to another Bayonetta 3 video. There have been so many theories pointing to who this swordsman really is, and we touched up on it in our previous two episodes. But we are going to be really diving into whose man's or woman's is this.
Hey yo, who woman's is this?
Don't worry, make sure to watch the full video because I've listed them from least probable to most probable. I've had a short break yesterday, but I'm going to be uploading as much as I can, breaking down the very depths of this Bayonetta 3 trailer. So make sure you are first to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and turn on post notifications so you do not miss your daily dose of Bayonetta 3 content. Cue the "this is Virgil" memes. So this could be the purple figure that we saw in the 2017 trailer all those years back, because of the purple strands of hair, the slice technique, and the relation to the Blood Moon. So it's kind of a given that this person will be the minor antagonist, just like how they played it out in the two previous games. However, by the end of this video, I'm going to be showing you guys something much cooler. Again, rest in peace to the Eggman and Antonio theories. I guess it's a tie, crazy girl. So first up is a rogue Lumen Sage of the Brave second timeline. So we have the evidence of the paw print, which could be a hint of the first dog in the first scenes of the trailer, as Lumen Sages could shapeshift into canines. I'm pretty sure that this is just a Project GG Easter egg, but again, it's worth putting it out there. Just for some context to this, you may be asking, even if it's the second timeline, how can Lumen Sages or even Umbran Witches still be alive? Well, the mass majority of them. Well, it all comes back to that point in time where in the new timeline, Brave Cerecita was able to push through and help John with the witch hunts. So there may be a possibility that the Umbran Witches and the Lumen Sages still exist in the second timeline. So I have a feeling that our Bayonetta is having her adventures in the second timeline. At one point, she would be saved by a team of modern Umbran Witches. Like, they would be trying to instill the "oh my god, they are alive and helping us" type of feeling, just like when Naruto was saved by the Akatsuki in the Road to Ninja movie. It would be such a great closure to see how our Bayonetta would react in seeing her Umbran sisters, and knowing that Brave Cerecita was able to push through and save the clan in her timeline. But to contradict that, I believe only the Umbran Witches would be saved in this timeline, and that they were successful in beating the Lumen Sages in the witch hunts all those years ago. And that brings me to my next point. If there is no more Lumen Sages in the second timeline, does that mean there is no more Right Eye of Lightness in it? The young Boulder that we saw and had adventures with in Bayonetta 2 was likely from the second timeline, but his right eye was only used in the first timeline for Jibelius and Aesir, because that Boulder was in an entire loop. Last year, I had a full Bayonetta timeline explained video, so if you want to check that out, see the pinned comment below. So there's this sort of plot hole of how can there be a second Armageddon if the Right Eye of Lightness was busy being used in the first timeline? Well, we're going to debunk that theory in the previous video. So ultimately, in the second timeline, it was not the eyes of the world together, but the imbalance of having the right eye missing that caused everything to go to shit. Basically, if there was no right eye, this is what caused Cerecita's timeline to go bonkers. I have a feeling that the two eyes must exist within one timeline, and they are what keep the Trinity of Realities separated. Similar to how the Infinity Stones kept the Sacred Timeline safe in the MCU. So my new theory is, if the Lumen Sages are extinct, it would be awesome if there was just one last Lumen Sage who is out for revenge against the Umbran Witches for essentially genociding his clan. This stems from my Ludovicus and Cheshire theories, where they are essentially the last Lumen Sages who have been in hiding all this time. But again, this is my least probable possibility of who this person is. So up next, we have the male Bayonetta variant, which I kinda wanted to put first, but I feel like the Lumen Sage one was much more interesting for a start. For the Loki fans out there, this would be like Sylvia, the female Loki variant of the Loki Disney Plus series, to which, might I add, Hideki Kamiya has seen and even posted about. The only reason why this made it to the list would be because of the Cheshire doll this swordsman has at the very end of their Maodao sword. So how can this person have such a very special doll exclusive for Brave Cerecita? I know that there are some differences from this doll to the one we remember from the first game, but it still is hand-stitched from scrap fabric, like how our Rosa did for our Bayonetta. The white cloth and the triquetra pattern could indicate that this is Cheshire per se, but not of the Brave/second timeline, but of a completely different timeline that we aren't really aware about. I said in my previous video that Atsushi Inaba even joked about it all those years ago, and that this Bayonetta, who we'll call Boyonetta to abbreviate, is actually trying to get rid of as much Cerezas as possible, like what he was doing in the 2017 teaser. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I see killing literally in just hit and run situations, especially in pop culture, just like the purple figure in the first teaser, I always think that all they want to do is either keep them silent, erase the evidence, or prevent further actions. Like, if it was for bloodlust or revenge, it wouldn't be plain and simple. They definitely want them to suffer as they enjoy their beating. So in saying that, if this purple figure, this swordsman, is a male Bayonetta variant, once again, Makaze, you are up, there will be a scenario of male Bayonetta Bayonetta eventually encountering Brave Cerecita. And I even think that's when our Bayonetta will come in to save her, therefore having quite literally 3 Bayonetta variants in one shot, or maybe even 4 variants like what that billboard was hinting. Again, a really out there, mundane sort of theory, but I hope I could at least get some heads turning. We have the most probable theory that this is a John variant of the Brave timeline, who after the witch hunts went on her own way. Danny was able to pick out some Japanese text on the sword which they believe to be onna, which is kanji for woman. So a huge thanks to you, Danny, you are the real MVP. That's one of the hints that indicate that this person is female. Also, I've seen a lot of Baiki John fan arts, so those definitely helped in this part of the segment. I have a feeling that Brave Cerecita not being sealed was the Nexus event, and the cornerstone of everything. What I mean by that is, in Bayonetta 1, we know that Bayonetta was able to break John's brainwashing at the end, but personally, I believe our John changed our Bayonetta as much as our Bayonetta changed our John. Both of them were critical in each other's growth as Umbran Witches towards the end of Bayonetta 1. That being said, in the Brave timeline, since Brave Cerecita was not sealed, they both went on with the natural course of time, of course. Either something happened within those 500 years when they were together, or that this is John's juvenile tendencies which weren't properly dealt with, hence the edgy outfit. It's also possible that Brave Cerecita became the next Umbran leader, while John was content with leaving the Umbran clan to pursue her own goals as a wanderer. The possibilities are endless. Though, why would Baiki John have a scrap doll rather than Charles? Well, this we can only speculate. I feel if she did leave the Umbran clan after the witch hunts, Brave Cerecita would have given her a fixed Cheshire doll, or her fixed Cheshire doll, to remember her by. Cue the Bayo John ship, am I right, Phileas? I think that's why she kept it as a charm at the end of her sword. 1, I think that'll be so cute for their friendship, and 2, it's something that Brave Cerecita would do once she has grown up. But if this is both John and the purple figure, she must be on some sort of mission to get rid of other Cereza variants across the multiverse, according to the 2017 trailer. Also, I'd like to point out in the first 2008 trailer, John appears at the end very briefly as well. So that'd be a cool continuity theme over 13 years later. So to predict what could happen if this was a John variant of the second timeline, like how we predict Radahn will be in the first timeline, Baiki John possibly keeps tabs on Brave Cerecita being a huge threat to the multiverse. I think Baiki John knows this and would eventually reunite with Brave Cerecita, possibly having to eliminate her. And that's when our Bayonetta comes in to save the day. Keep in mind, this is happening in the second timeline, so our John that we know and love has nothing to do with the Brave second timeline as of now, but she will be a core asset to our Bayonetta in saving the multiverse. So basically, we're going to have our Bayonetta and John, and Brave Cerecita and Baiki John in the same shot. I feel Bayonetta 3 has to end the whole timeline jumping, time traveling debacle in this game before we can move on to the next saga. Hopefully we get that funding, so let's support Bayonetta 3. This is going to be such a huge closure for the past decade and a bit, and that is why it's going to be such an emotional ride towards the end. I feel that they are going to absolutely stop the connection between the two timelines at this point. As much as I want this to be Eggman, the Baiki John of the second timeline theory is growing on me, and I think it's the most realistic option thanks to you guys. But what if this is just Baiki John and not the purple figure? So let's separate those two characters for now. I want to hype it up even more. Remember that Radahn is the purple figure theory way back in our second episode. We stated that this purple figure is Radahn, but of the second timeline. So to put into perspective, we may just have all the variants in one shot. Our Bayonetta, our John, and our Radahn from the Sacred Timeline meeting Brave Cereza, Baiki John, and now who I'll call Burning Radahn. So I think that the second timeline's Radahn, the Burning Purple Figure Radahn, and Baiki John are out there slaying Cereza variants in order to try reverse the second Armageddon. I don't know about y'all, but I think that's a very awesome way to introduce the variants of the second timeline. And if my Black Clover fans are watching, I'd love to see those variants against each other at first, since, you know, they might see each other as a threat, especially Radahn and Burning Radahn, since I feel like Radahn is the type of character to really believe in the only one who can beat me is me archetype. And this is a perfect way to bring that exact situation to life. I can just imagine Fallen Father Radahn versus Bonfire Radahn. Imagine if you could play as Radahn in one chapter versing the purple figure. Again, a really out there mundane theory, but it's worth putting it out there. There is one more person who I think this swordsman could be, and that is someone completely new that we don't even know about, which essentially is what Platinum Games did in 2013 when they showed Loki at the end of that Bayonetta 2 trailer. But again, everyone let me know below who your best guesstimate is for this swordsman. I guess we'll just call him the Bayonetta swordsman for now. But remember everyone, I have 80 more Bayonetta 3 theories, so make sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you do not miss your daily dose of Bayonetta 3 theories. Next time, we'll be discussing who these mysterious life forms, these MILFs, really are. Stay safe, Minasan, I'm Rakun, and never get disheartened.